Once people got their minds wrapped around their current reality and could see their way forward, they could do so much more than when avoiding that reality. But of course, the problem often was people got hung up on where they were and couldn't get to where they were going. In those moments, it seemed like the distance was so damn far that they couldn't find a way to get there. Yet, in fact, it didn't need to be that way at all. People could cross any amount of distance without any issues. They just had to believe in it and put in the effort. That's the most laborious and time-consuming part. But it was all about taking that first step. Haley had attended yoga and meditation sessions because they were both so darn crucial for stress relief. And one of the things she loved was when they were told to visualize themselves in a cloud, where the only thing they could see was a little bit of space where they stood. And then they were told to take a little step forward, into the unknown, into the unseen. It was amazing to listen to people calling out that they were falling and were too scared to take action because they couldn't see what was in front of them. And of course, that was the lesson. To trust that a step would be there, that you would be okay, and that as soon as you put your foot out there, another step would form under it so that you wouldn't fall. But so many people struggled with that concept. Haley had used it many times for herself, trying to get through what she needed to get through in life. The last few years hadn't been easy. Yet, she had not only survived, but she'd also become a much better person for it. She smiled at that as she returned her cleaning supplies at the end of her shift. Hathaway House might be perfect for the patients here, but it was the right place for Haley, too. Heath lay once again on his bed and stared up at the dark sky just outside his window. It seemed like darkness was his friend these days, or maybe an enemy. It gave him the privacy of being alone, but with it came the most incredible nightmares and the most horrific images that he never wanted to see again. There should be a way to stop it. He knew that all kinds of meditations and drugs and things could deal with it, but in his heart of hearts, he knew that part of the problem was he didn't want them to stop. Because as long as he relived these memories, he never forgot his friends who blew up beside him. He lived, they died. But as long as he remembered them, they weren't forgotten. 2 of his friends were scheduled to head back to the U.S. with him 2 days later for their leave. Both of them were excited. They had girlfriends they were heading home to. Heath, on the other hand, didn't. He was the only unattached one. They'd been joking and laughing when he drove too close to the shoulder, and the truck hit an IED. He'd taken part of the blast, but his friends had lost their lives. And every night he drove that same damn road, wrenching the wheel to prevent the accident, because now he knew what would happen when he hit that shoulder. But there was no forgiveness. There was no change. There was no going back. There was no fixing this. And every time he thought about his best friends and their girlfriends and their bright futures, it always came back to the same questions. Why me? Why was I the one to survive? Why was I the one to stay here and to suffer through all this pain and the guilt? Why couldn't they have lived, even if they'd lost their legs? Their women would have loved them regardless. Their families wouldn't have cared, as long as their sons, brothers were still there to love and had something to look forward to.